It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Quinnipiac assistant women's ice hockey coach, Coach Amanda Alessi. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in college coaching ice hockey?
Sure. I guess once I finished playing, I was back home in Canada and just naturally started volunteering with the teams that were nearby, and realized I really enjoyed it, and then was able to do a little bit of coaching with Team Ontario and Team Canada, and really realized, hey, I really like coaching. This would be something that would be very cool to do for a full-time job. And then kind of got into a master's program, worked with the university team in Canada, and then was offered this opportunity here at Quinnipiac. So that's kind of how we got here.
Of course, what was it like playing for Cornell for ice hockey?
It was great. I had a lot of fun at Cornell. We had some very successful years. And yeah, I had great teammates all 4 years, and an awesome coaching staff. So I was pretty lucky.
What was that feeling like getting to put on the Cornell jersey and represent Cornell?
It was great. When I was younger, I was playing hockey just because it was fun, and I was pretty good at it. I didn't know that I'd have the opportunity to play university hockey. So the first time you get to pull that jersey on is definitely pretty cool.
Of course, what were some of your hockey accomplishments playing in the Ivy League?
We had 3 really great years. Won the Ivy League twice in my last 3 years. ECAC regular season, my gosh, 2 or 3 times, and then ECAC playoffs, ECAC championship. My God, this is bad. Things you forget. Once or twice. No, twice. Definitely twice. And then we ended up at the Frozen Four 3 times, and made it to the national championship once and lost to Minnesota Duluth in triple OT, which was definitely sad. But now that I'm on the other side of things and coaching, I think I have a pretty good understanding now of how impressive those 3 years of hockey were as a player.
How was that like, obviously, as a player playing in the Frozen Four?
It was awesome. I think that's what, every college athlete, every college team is striving for, to make it to that NCAA tournament. And, when you get there, it's different than just, playing in the playoffs or, a regular season game. You get some free stuff. You're at a different rink. There's generally more people watching, and obviously more on the line. So it's fun. You kind of feel like a pro, which is cool. And yeah, I think the do or die mindset of the NCAA playoffs definitely makes it challenging but fun.
Of course, coming out of college, what was it like getting to coach for the Canada as a goaltender coach?
That was awesome. Not something, that I thought I was ready to do when I was asked to do it. But Mel Davidson kind of gave me the opportunity and asked if I wanted to be involved. And after playing in the organization, on the U18 and U22 team, I knew how special it was, so I couldn't say no. But it was great. Everybody that you work with at that level, whether it's the staff or the players, is the best of the best, and there to learn and to grow. And it's always an awesome environment, whether you're there as a player or a coach.
Of course, after that experience, what was it like getting into college coaching and coaching first at Western University?
Yeah, so I coached at Western during my master's program. So it was a master's in coaching, and you had to have a practical component to it. So, I joined the coaching staff at Western, which was a great stepping stone for me. I'd never worked in college or university athletics before, so that was a great opportunity to get my feet wet, and then quickly realized that college coaching was something I really enjoyed. So used that as a bit of a springboard to then move on to coach down here at Quinnipiac.
Of course, how was that experience like going to Finland to become the goaltender coach in the IHF?
That was a great experience too. The IHF does a nice job bringing coaches and players together for that camp from all over the world. So in my position, I was able to kind of work with all the goalie coaches from the various, I think it was 15 or 16 countries that were represented at that camp. So you get an opportunity to work with goalie coaches from all over the world and share resources and drills and techniques and learn from them and also, share some of the things that we do in Canada. So definitely a very cool experience. Language barrier was probably the hardest part of that camp for sure.
Of course, how did that camp help you into getting the job at Quinnipiac and becoming the assistant coach?
That IHF camp was actually after I took this job, but I did get this job through a Hockey Canada connection, excuse me. Our head coach here, Cassie, was the head coach of the U18 team in 2014-15 when I was the goalie coach. So we worked together through that season, and then she was promoted to the head coach here and hired me as her assistant.
What was that feeling like coming to Quinnipiac to become the assistant coach?
It was great. I guess it was my first quote unquote real person job. Full time with a salary. So that aspect of it was very cool and exciting to be off on my own and working full time. And Quinnipiac as an institution just supports our hockey team so much. We're a sport on campus that people like to come and watch. We're well supported. Our student athletes get a great experience on and off the ice. So definitely feel fortunate to be here.
Of course, what are some of your biggest accomplishments so far at Quinnipiac?
My first year was an awesome season. We won the regular season in the ECAC and the ECAC championship, which was such a cool experience, especially as a first year assistant coach. I learned a lot from that season and from that group. We've had multiple players, get to 100 points. We've had one of the best penalty kills in the country. Some goaltenders that have won some great awards as well. So those are some of the ones that stand out. But that first season, the ECAC championship is definitely the biggest one.
What was that experience like as a coach going to the ECAC championship?
It was great. We played Clarkson, and it was a exciting game. Back then, our games against Clarkson were usually 0-0, 1-0, low scoring defensive battles. It was a fun game, and as a coach, you're just trying to do everything you can to prepare your players to go out and be able to play their best hockey on an important day.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built for Quinnipiac women's ice hockey?
Yeah, I think, Cass has always had a vision of what she wants the culture to be here. And I think, we do a good job, helping to create it. The first thing is we try and bring in players that are great people. We want to have, quality people in our program that want to learn and grow and get better. We definitely have a culture of development. Like players come here understanding that they're going to put the work in every day to try and become the best version of themselves when they leave. So we work hard on player development on and off the ice. We like to have a ton of fun and we like to be super competitive. So whether it's a drill in practice or a game on the weekend, the expectation is that the compete level is going to be very high.
Of course, who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
Yes, we have a 12-team conference, 6 Ivy League teams, and then 6 non-Ivies. Our travel partner is Princeton. We play Cornell, Colgate, RPI, Union, Harvard, Dartmouth, Brown, Yale. I'm not sure if I'm missing anybody, but yeah, those are St. Lawrence, Clarkson. I guess maybe those are the 2 I left out.
Of course, what is that like getting to play in those Ivy League games against like Princeton, Cornell, Yale, and Harvard?
They're great, yeah. It's a cool league that we get to have the non-Ivy teams mixed in with the Ivy League teams. I think in a lot of the other sports, the Ivy League is its own league, so they only get to compete against each other in season. So it's nice for us to have the combination of both. I think academics is something that's super important in our league, whether you're an Ivy school or a non-Ivy.
Of course, how is it like obviously traveling and getting to play like Maine and Boston College?
Yeah, it's nice to open up our season with a good amount of non-conference games before our ECAC season gets going. It's fun to play different teams and go on different road trips, and also, those games are important down the line when we get to the end of the season and qualifying for the NCAA tournament. That national ranking is important, so it's always great to get games against non-conference teams.
Of course, what does a typical game day look like at home playing in your non-conference versus obviously your conference games?
Nothing different really in the game day experience for our girls. We try and keep everything pretty similar, so that whether we're playing a conference team, a non-conference team, an exhibition game, a playoff game, we want the game day experience to be the same no matter what for them.
Of course, how is it like obviously traveling to your away games such as playing Princeton and playing Carly Moore's team?
Yeah, traveling is fun. The girls get to go on the bus. A lot of team bonding usually happens on there. For games that are 2 hours away or more, we'll generally travel the day before and either practice at home or practice in their rink when we get to wherever we're going, and then might have a game day skate the morning of the game, and then um, you know have their pregame meal, take a nap, maybe hang around the hotel, have our pregame meeting, and then head off to the rink for the game.
Of course, as an assistant coach, what are some of your rituals to prepare for game day?
I don't really have any rituals or superstitions, I guess, as a coach these days, but we try to be as prepared as possible. So after our pregame meeting with the team, the three of us coaches, a pregame meeting as a staff just to make sure that we're all on the same page for, our power play units or who changes for who, or any kind of important details that we're going to need to execute during the game. So I guess that's really the only thing that would count as, I guess, a ritual or a tradition on game day.
Of course, what does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play ice hockey?
Yeah, so we spend a good amount of our time, a lot in the summer and then a little bit through the year as well, out watching youth hockey all over, really, Canada, the US. We even go to Europe sometimes. And generally, we go out, we watch, and if there's players that we're interested in talking to, if they're of recruitable age, when we get back, we'll reach out to their coaches and ask to set up phone calls with those players and their families. And then if they're interested in us, we'll continue that communication and then invite them to campus for a visit. And eventually, if there's someone that we want to add to our program, we would offer them a spot and see what happens.
Of course, how is that like, obviously, with ice hockey, being able to recruit domestically and internationally and get to go to Canada and Europe?
It's a lot of fun. Definitely, makes our team diverse, having players from all over the world. The beauty of the internet is that now we can watch a lot of hockey from Western Canada or over in Finland without needing to go there as much, which is super helpful. But yeah, we're always looking for the best players and the best people, no matter where they live.
What are some of the things that you look at in those players when on the road?
Work ethic is always an important one. Attitude. We like to find players that love to compete and love to battle. That find going to the rink every day fun. Excuse me, sorry. Speed. We love players that are fast, big, strong, people that can shoot the puck. And hockey IQ is always something that's hard to teach. So when you find players that have it, that's always awesome too.
Of course, on the official visit, what does that look like for those prospective student athletes coming to Quinnipiac?
Yeah, so on an official visit, you get to stay in the dorms with the players, watch practice or a game, whatever you happen to be here for, watch a workout, interact with players on the team, interact with, everybody that's on our coaching staff, and then our, additional staff as well, like our equipment manager, our athletic trainer, strength and conditioning coach. You get to eat in the dining halls, so you really get to kind of take in that full college experience. So hopefully, it answers a lot of questions for those student athletes as they work to make their decision.
Of course, as an assistant coach, what is it like seeing them get to see the jersey that they'll be putting on for the next 4 years?
It's always fun. It's a special moment. I remember putting it on at Cornell, and special to watch. Our first year players get to put that jersey on here as well. Never gets old.
What is that feeling like, obviously seeing them put it on as a freshman and then get to put it on the last time as a senior?
It's cool. It's one of our favorite things to see the players grow over their 4 years that they're with us. We often talk about our year-end banquet as one of our favorite days, just because you get to see the seniors get up and speak about their 4 years and see how much they've grown from being a young freshman to a senior.
Of course, what are some of the traditions that you've helped implement it for the Quinnipiac program?
Trying to think, like, there's not too much that us as coaches impose as traditions. I think there's things that the girls do on their own kind of without us. Trying to think if there's anything. Yeah, nothing too specific that I can think of, sorry.
Of course, what are some of your future plans with the Quinnipiac program?
Win a national championship, that's always the goal.
Of course, moving forward in the future, what is that like preparing to build a championship program?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with recruiting great players to join our program, and then putting the work in every day with the group that we've got, helping them become the best version of themselves, and helping them become a consistent group that enjoys playing together and wants to win for each other. And then, yeah, hoping that the pieces all come together when it matters most.
What advice would you give those high school athletes looking to play college ice hockey?
Yeah, I think work ethic and attitude are just two things that are so important. As you continue to develop as a player, take opportunities to play with the best people you can play with, compete very hard, and you know, I think one of the most important things is just to have fun while you're doing it. You come to one of our practices and players are smiling all the time, even when they're, competing and when things are hard. So make sure you're having fun, and working as hard as you can.
What advice would you give those current and future college ice hockey players looking to play in college?
College or pro?
In college.
That are the girls that are already in college?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the same thing, I guess, as the prospective student athletes. Bring your best effort every day, compete, and have fun while you're doing it.
What advice would you give them looking to play professional, whether it's the PHF, the PWHPA, or even overseas?
Yeah, I think, it's a great time for women's hockey right now. There's a lot of places that you can continue to play after college, which is awesome. And it seems like those options are just going to get better and better. So I would say, explore your options and figure out, first off, I guess, where you want to be. If you're interested in being in Europe, then explore those options. But if you'd like to stay in North America, then, you have two great options to play in. And, we're pretty lucky. We have a lot of former Bobcats that are playing professionally. So I would definitely say, reach out to some of your fellow alumni and ask them the questions, because they're the ones that are playing in the leagues and know what it's like.
What advice would you give those college ice hockey players looking to go from playing to getting into coaching after their playing career?
Yeah, I think, volunteer, like, get your name out there. You're not always going to be able to jump into, a paid role right away, but volunteer, wherever you have your work or wherever you settle after college. Reach out to, us. We can always help players, get in touch with the other coaches who are looking for help. Working camps is a great way to start, and to figure out if you really enjoy, being on the ice and instructing, and then you can kind of go from there. But people are always looking for help. Youth hockey especially, they're always looking for, qualified, smart people to help grow the game. And I think it's a great time to be interested in coaching as a profession.
What advice would you give those future assistant coaches looking to get started in coaching in women's ice hockey?
Same thing. Put your name out there. When opportunities come up, take them. Even if you don't necessarily think you're qualified, jump at the opportunities when they come your way, and good things can happen.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with the Quinnipiac Women's Ice Hockey Program at?
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, AMAS 29.
Thank you again, Coach Amanda Alessi, for your interview and best of luck in your future as the assistant coach for the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey program.
Thank you.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Amanda, for your interview and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.